Since the day I was born, I've been fighting issues with my health. I was told I'd never run or walk again, and yet I've completed Ironmans, natural bodybuilding, cycling races, and a ton more. While doing this and building up that non-negotiable first-hand credibility in myself, I also started a 7-figure health optimization company. That health optimization company is called Optimobility, and what we do is we'll install a whole ecosystem in the lives of entrepreneurs to get them healthy on autopilot. In this video, I've compiled all the knowledge I've accumulated on my journey thus far. And if you can complete this video, you'll know exactly how to save over 40 to 60 hours every single month while living as long as humanly possible, as best as humanly possible, and reaching your highest states of output by simply using AI, science, and teams, just like you do in your business. And the best part is that we built this whole system that runs on AI in the back end with no human error or any mistakes that seamlessly interrupt this beautiful and intricate process. I've timestamped each separate walkthrough, so let's dive in. You've probably seen guys like Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and Brian Johnson go all in on their health over these past couple of years. This is not a coincidence. It's because in order to get the most amount of work done, you need energy. So why does having more energy lead to you getting more done? This is an easy equation because there's two simple metrics to output. Firstly, there's non-direct output, which isn't tied necessarily to your bodily performance. And this could be something like hiring somebody to do a certain task for you, or like how Jeff Bezos owns Amazon, and that's kind of running on itself. Doesn't require his necessary output in this moment in time. And then there's everything else, which is personalized output. The two aspects of what generate some sort of value in our day-to-day lives is compromise of ourselves and what we create. And when you have a bigger battery and you're able to break down the exact battery and what that looks like, which fundamentally is our biology, and I'll deep dive that in a second here, but when you're able to deep dive the limiting beliefs and the limiting constraints of a battery, you don't need to abuse stimulants anymore. You don't have to be savvy about how you go about recharging and what that looks like. You're just able to put out more energy into existence because you're taking your body and where you're currently at face value using simple science. And that's exactly what getting into good shape is all about. Getting into good shape or having a good physique is the epitome of efficiency within the body. Think about it. High muscle mass converts more energy while you're sitting. You're not holding on to fat, so you don't have gunk sitting around your joints. You're able to do any physical endeavor like bike up a mountain or run a marathon or do an Ironman, and the amount of absolutely natural hormones are in perfect harmony and balance because we're beating the body with its minimum required dose of effectiveness. Our evolutionary process and everything that has happened to this point in time, the body is an adaptive machine at doing that. And therefore it needs to be respected to the extent of being able to decode it. And once we use some basic science to understand our body with blood work and stomach testing and genetics, we're able to see at face value what's actually going on behind this meat suit. And the number one problem that a lot of entrepreneurs and people all over the world, you can walk down the street right now and look around, the number one problem that they struggle with is to some extent inflammation. But it's really hard to identify and put the necessary gears in motion about how to fix that sort of inflammation. Because inflammation can exist in the gut. It can exist in a swollen ankle. It can exist in the brain. And what Jeff and Brian Johnson and Mark Zuckerberg have done is they said, I can't afford to have residual inflammation or leaks in my body because ultimately that affects the output of everything that I do in my day-to-day life, because the car that I drive the track with is my body, and I need my body to be like a Lamborghini and not like some shitty Kia or a car that isn't reminiscent of the value that I'm worth, right? They make that sort of mental jurisdiction in their mind, and because they have the funds, they can easily pay for any sort of test that they need, and then afterwards take that test and easily put it into motion. And if they didn't do this, they would be sacrificing themselves. Why would they do that? They've put in so much work, they put in so much money, they put in so much focus into building Amazon, Facebook, and whatever businesses or any single business person you can think of right now in this moment. Think of what they've made, the output. Why the hell would they not reap the dividends, rewards, and competitive advantages in their life by letting that entity outlive them. They want to be on this earth as long as possible to use that competitive advantage of, hey, I built Amazon, and what that can do in terms of playing the game at life at the fullest extent, which is why you're seeing entrepreneurs focus on their health more. A simple objection that always comes up is why not just use stimulants? And this can be compared to why not just use steroids? And it's the exact same problem every single time. It's a blanket statement that omits and doesn't respect the complexity of the system. If you're just using stimulants, if you're just using caffeine and nicotine blindly because they give you that boost, you're eventually going to run into a brick wall where caffeine, nicotine, whatever stimulant you want, isn't going to give you that push forward like it once did. Because that's the diminishing effect of stimulants. They start like this, and then they slowly and steadily go down. And the problem is when they go down, that inflection point with your health being the X curve will meet. And that point being met causes another source of inflammation. It can cause problems with your gut. It can cause problems with your clarity. It can cause brain fog. It can cause so many things that can easily be found in just by doing some simple tests. But I promise you, once those tests are shown, they're not going to fix the underlying problems that exist with your mobility, with your fitness, with your nutrition, with all the systems and how they work and where you are on a day-to-day basis. So let's break down the things that actually drain your energy on a day-to-day basis. The first thing is time. The actual chore of putting your health into motion is completely the number one biggest gaping giant dam spewing energy out of your ecosystem problem right now. Because the time in that you have to spend with getting your health in order is a way bigger ask than actually doing the testing of realizing what's wrong. Here's an easy example. When blood work and gut tests are collected with our clients, there is an enormous amount of action items that are derived from that in correlation to the supplements that we order and the meal plan that we get our chef to cook up for them. And these are just to do with nutrition. Think about the amount of time they have to put into training or specific stretches or all of these things. That all needs to be laid out well in order for it to actually have some sort of effect after 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. By actually doing the damn thing and not just having the data in the air, that alone, we're talking 40 to 100 hours a month by getting your health in a working order and getting it to the point where it can compete with the competitive advantages and systems that Jeff and Mark and all these billionaire guys have behind their backs. Because there's constraints on your output right this moment, and that could be due to life or it could be mental constraints that you don't really realize that exist because your body is constantly in a survival state. If you're inflamed in your gut right now, or you have constant shoulder problems or back pain, or you have a severe injury, your body is trying to fight and it's trying to fix that aspect of itself. And that process alone is leaking more energy than a stimulant or any sort of quick fix could ever buy you back. So that needs to be identified. That leakage, that bullet wound, that hole needs to be fixed, identified, and traced down to the root cause while demanding as little effort on your part because you have to focus on your business in order to fix it. And what happens when most entrepreneurs ignore all of these things and when it's too late? Well, when it's too late, you'll have something like acute arthritis or IBS, or you won't be able to walk, or you'll have depression, or you'll have some sort of limiting condition, or you'll sprain your ankle. It's totally avoidable. And the smartest entrepreneurs on this earth know that they can't afford to disrespect or neglect the only vehicle for the rest of their lives in this moment, because yes, that impacts their output, but at the same time, they don't want to have the pain of not doing the right thing happen 5, 6, 7 years down the line simply because they were ignorant today. And when your body is depleted, there's nothing that you can do in terms of decision making. Your entire focus and the entire voltage that charges up your battery, there is no voltage anymore. You can't ask anything out of yourself because the system is fundamentally broken. If Meta ads isn't working and you keep trying to put money behind a system that isn't working, your ads are not going to go live. And so, therefore, it's not about what you can do in terms of a reaction, in terms of adding more spend. It's about understanding why the system isn't working. And this is fundamentally what training does. It gives you the leverage and the bulletproofness that you need to make sure that you're combating the inflammation aspects of your body. Because when you perform, or when you do difficult lifts, or when you do difficult things, the sources of inflammation and the things that need the most work are extremely prevalent in front of you. Those are the things that need to be worked on the most. And that's what happened with my foot. When I started doing Ironman training and running and biking, I knew I had to do a lot of mobility and a lot of stretching and exercises on my right leg because I was immobile for 5 years and I spent 18 years in active physiotherapy just relearning how to walk. So if I hadn't done that in that moment in time, I would have probably bared the repercussions for that when I was 30, 40, 50, which would have left me immobile, which means I would have had a shorter life, which fuck that. I don't want to do that. I have a business to grow. I have people to help. I'm ambitious. So I'm not going to be negligent about what's going on with my body. I'm going to let performance bring me to face value with what my weakest links are. This is exactly what we do for our clients at Optimobility. So check it out down below.